is him. I was straddled on top of him like this. Okay. And he couldn't fight back.
The case of Brian Cohey, who was in a Colorado court for murder. In February 2021, 19-year-old Cohey tracked down and fatally stabbed 69-year-old Warren Barnes. Cohey has been fascinated with death and serial killers since he was young. After the murder, he took some parts of Barnes's body home. On March 1st, his mom discovered the body parts and called 911.
911 is John. What's the address emergency?
I found something in my son's closet wrapped in a plastic bag.
Okay, what was it?
I think it's a human head.
It's a what?
I think it's a human head.
Why do you think it's that?
Because it looks like it's all an ear.
Is your son there now?
He just pulled up. We wanted to make sure he was here before we called.
How old is he?
19. He's had a little bit of a fascination with the morbid, but he was channeling it, I thought, into becoming a crime scene investigator, but not so much.
Does he have any weapons in his room, or do you guys have any in the house?
I think that he has a shotgun, but we can certainly remove it immediately before he gets in his room. There's a second bag, though. I don't know what's in it. I didn't open it.
I'm sorry. Did he took the second bag out? Where's Brian now?
I think he's still outside.
And you're in the backyard now?
I am, yes, because I don't want him to hear me.
When officers arrived and met Cohey, he shocked them.
Okay, so parents have some concerns of some stuff they may have found in your room?
Yeah, I believe so.
And what would it be?
A human head and hands.
Do you have anything on you he's going to cut, poke, hurt, stick me anything without reaching for nothing? Don't reach for nothing.
My phone and my wallet, that's it.
Well, I'm going to have you face that way. Put your hands on top of your head for me real quick. I just want to make sure you interlace your fingers for me real quick, all right?
He was taken into custody, and during his interrogation, he was very open and confessed to his actions.
3 layers of gloves, because plastic gloves can betray their users because they're so thin, those vinyl gloves, by imprinting your fingerprints through. So I put on 2, 3 on one hand. I took the knife, I pulled back the canvas, and I stabbed his neck. He was panicking at first in his old man voice. He was in his 50s. I know why I call him old man. He was saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Why? Ah!" And I just kept on stabbing his neck. Is it okay if I do a demonstration? Oh, yeah. This is him. I was straddled on top of him like this. Okay. And he couldn't fight back. It was actually surprisingly easy. I was barely breaking the sweat. I thought, oh, this guy, he's going to be tough. But no, it was actually surprisingly easy. And during the time I was growling, I was so excited, so rushed up on adrenaline, and every guy was just, woo! And I paused, and he said, "Why are you doing this?" And I said, "I've been wanting to do this for a long fucking time." The head I put, because it was starting to stink, I was planning on throwing the head and hands away. Okay. On the trash bag, and not in the kitchen trash. But they were both in trash bags. The head was in a trash bag, I tied up the trash bag.
He told detectives the grisly details of the crime.
I was stabbing his head anywhere in that general area. I stabbed his head multiple times.
How about his chest, his stomach?
His chest I stabbed once through the ribs. I sliced open his belly, carved up his leg.
Why did you do that?
I was just doing everything I thought of at the moment.
In court, his poor mother couldn't stop herself from tears after the evidence was shown in court. Cohey pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, but the court found him guilty. Before he was sentenced, his mother begged the court to forgive his son.
Can you live in a place of darkness and sadness and that my own pain doesn't compare to your loss? I want you to know how sorry I am.
Brian Cohey was sentenced to life without parole. Brian Cohey is a prime example of a kid acting crazy. However, could Brendan Deppa be considered even a little crazier? Deppa, a 17-year-old high school student, is in court for aggravated battery on a school board employee in Florida. On February 21st, 2024, Deppa attacked Joan Nadich, a teacher's aide assigned to him at school, after the teacher allegedly confiscated his Nintendo Switch.
As a student pushes a teacher's aide to the floor, then kicks and pummels her without mercy. It's It's a savage beating, and it takes 4 other staff members to drag him off the unconscious woman, who is left with multiple injuries.
Nadich sustained a severe concussion, 5 broken ribs, and hearing loss. Depa suffers from autism and ADHD. A few hours after he was restrained, officers took him into custody.
Don't make your situation any worse than it is, okay?
I'm dead.
What?
I'm dead.
In court, his mother begged the court to let her son go.
I beg you to let him come home with me. I want my son back.
Depa's defense counsel also asked the judge to have mercy on the teenager.
He is disabled. He can't navigate the world like you and I can.
The judge refused, citing Depa's lack of remorse and apology. He also insisted that Depa needs to be punished because of the act.
We started with a competency hearing in this case, and we heard from experts at that point in time. We've heard from additional experts today. And I think all of the experts, all agree that Mr. Depa does not have an intellectual disability. Although this event was senselessly violent, I don't want to lose sight of the fact that at the time of this event, Mr. Depa was 17 years of age. However, this was not an isolated event. The history goes back, resulting in a number of Baker Acts. I heard as many as 6. I could only find 3. Describing the problems as yelling, screaming, hitting. And then, of course, we have this incident that happens in February of 2023. It captures senseless, extreme violence. Mr. Depa has never expressed not even a single bit of remorse.
Depa was eventually sentenced to 5 years in prison with 15 years of probation. However crazy Brendan Depa's actions were, how does it compare to shooting a cop?
Jonathan Belton, you shattered my happiness, my hopes, and my dreams, and for that I will never forgive you.
Like in the case of 16-year-old Jonathan Belton, who's facing murder charges in Illinois. On December 28, 2008, Officer Mason Samborski pulled Belton over. Belton was driving without a license, so the officer drove him to a supposed relative's apartment to identify him. Instead, Belton gave him directions to his girlfriend's house. There, an altercation ensued, and Belton fatally shot the officer.
While on the stairs, the defendant says to Officer Samborski, "Get off of me." The defendant never complied with the officer. He never stopped resisting. He never relaxed. He just kept trying to struggle and fight with the officer. And that the officer was just trying to get control of defendant Belton.
In court, Belton's girlfriend was called to testify.
I saw Officer Mason laying down on the ground and Johnny standing there on the side of him with the gun in his hand.
When you saw defendant Jonathan Belton with the gun in his right hand, could you tell where it was pointed towards?
Yes.
Tell the jury where defendant Belton had the handgun.
It was pointed towards like his upper body, somewhere towards his head.
An officer who arrived at the scene after the 911 call following the shooting also took the stand to testify.
I immediately attempted to render aid. I checked for vitals first. I found no pulse and no breathing. There was a large wound in the back of his head.
After hours of deliberations, the jury finally reached a verdict.
Murder of a peace officer, guilty as charged of murder of a peace officer. Count 2, possession of firearm and the commission of a felony, guilty as charged of felony firearm.
Prior to sentencing, the family of the deceased officer addressed him.
I hope that one day you regret what you did and realize what you could have done differently. You are alive and your family gets to see you and talk to you. We don't get to see or talk to Mason ever again. We get nothing but pain and wonderment of what our future could have been.
The victim's sister also spoke in court, but was interrupted by a man in the gallery.
Jonathan Belton, it is over.
Hey. Remove him from the courtroom.
When Belton was given the chance to speak, he told his family that he would be out soon.
We know what really happened. I know what really happened. The Lord knows what really happened. I love y'all to death. And I'm going to see y'all soon.
Jonathan Belton was sentenced to life imprisonment. However, Jonathan Belton isn't alone in their courtroom actions.
cries of agony outside the Maplewood Terrace complex in late July after 3 people were shot and killed inside an apartment.
Let's not forget the infamous incident involving 16-year-old Russell Burrell, who's in a Rhode Island court on murder charges. On July 30th, 2012, Burrell fatally shot 3 people in a housing complex.
22-year-old Shamika Barrows, her boyfriend, 23-year-old Michael Martin, and a friend of theirs, 22-year-old Damian Colon.
In court, the prosecution revealed details of the shooting.
Bullets fired by Russell Burrell struck and killed both Michael Martin and Damian Colon. As Russell Burrell was firing at Mr. Martin and Mr. Colon in the kitchen, Shamika Barrows woke up from the couch in the living room.
One of the victim's grandmothers addressed the court.
You took the life of her son, my grandson, for what? You committed a horrible, evil act, murdering 3 precious persons, resulting from your sick soul. I don't desire revenge, but I do ask for justice and to impose the maximum penalty as the law allows.
The mother of the victim also made a statement.
Every day comes with the struggle of having to walk past his bedroom door. Another day that she'll pass without hearing his voice or seeing a smile that would light up a room. There's a void and a hole and an emptiness in my life that will never be filled.
Burrell was sentenced to life imprisonment. However, while some may attribute Burrell's actions to mental illness, it pales in comparison to the unfathomable behavior of Cyntoia Brown, who's facing murder charges in Tennessee. On August 7th, 2004, 16-year-old Brown fatally shot Johnny Allen.
Can't. You know, I killed Johnny Allen. He's gone.
I thought he was reaching for a gun.
And then what did you do?
I shot him.
Allen had picked Brown from the road, and they had agreed on $150 for the night. But while at Allen's home, Brown shot him, stole his money, and fled.
First he was just stroking me, but then it's like he just grabbed me like in between my legs, like he just grabbed it real hard, and he just gave me this look. It was like a very fierce look, and then it just sent these chills up my spine. I'm thinking he's gonna hit me or do something like that, but then he rolls over and reaches, like he's reaching to the side of the bed or something, so I'm thinking, no, he's not finna hit me, he's finna get a gun.
And what did you do at that time?
I just grabbed the gun and I shot him.
According to the police, the teenager was a victim of child sex trafficking and was owned by a pimp called Cutthroat.
I remember one time, the first time he did something to me is when he choked me and I passed out. Because he said I thought he was a joke.
Following investigations, police arrested Brown. She was found guilty and sentenced to life with parole after 51 years. However, in 2017, her case went viral, and the Tennessee Parole Board arranged a hearing.
I just wanted to say thank you first. I know a lot of people get to see you, but I have prayed for a very long time to be able to meet with you.
During the hearing, she revealed what she went through.
What else did he do to you?
He talked real bad to me and jacked me up. He pulled me by my hair and dragged me and stuff. He put guns in the plane, told me to strap and stuff like that, getting that out with other people.
Did you ever have sex with the guys?
When I put a gun up to me, I did.
But she revealed that she is now a changed person.
I was 16, I did horrible things. And I have carried that with me this whole time. I have a college degree now. I have a family, a whole new family, a whole new community of people who love me, who believe in me, who support me. I've been able to help people, which is amazing. Young people, young kids, they listen.
In the end, the governor granted her clemency and she was released from prison after serving 15 years. However, let's compare the jaw-dropping action of Cyntoia Brown to the astonishing behavior of 17-year-old Dakota White, who's facing murder charges in Georgia. In 2016, White and his 18-year-old friend, Brandon Warren, lured 18-year-old Sam Poss into a house and ended his life.
Who was with you when Sam left this world? Brandon. You know, Brandon's the one. So we were going to put ourselves together. Before we put ourselves, I wanted to really fight to take life.
In court, Poss's mother addressed the teenage killers.
The young man strangled and stabbed my son for his own curiosity, no other reason, and then behaved as if it never happened. Should never be let out of prison in his lifetime.
Before he was sentenced, White apologized for his actions.
Sorry doesn't bring back Sam, nor does it make anybody feel better. Yet in almost 2 years, the only thing I've ever wanted to say is I am sorry.
The defense tried several times to get him out on a technicality.
We were all under the impression that community existed and there wasn't much we could do about it.
But in the end, White and his accomplice were sentenced to life without parole.
He exhibits an irretrievable depravity which forecloses any reasonable prospects for rehabilitation. Sadly, he is permanently incorrigible. Accordingly, the defendant is sentenced to life without the possibility of parole.
The teenagers are still serving their sentences in jail. However, while it was clear that these teenagers were clearly disturbed, their actions are nothing compared to that of 12-year-old Christian Fernandez.
Did you push him tonight?
To the bed?
No, did you do anything for his head to hit anything tonight?
Well, we were just carrying books, and then it fell on him.
That's not the truth, Christian. Is it?
He was facing murder charges in Florida. On March 14th, 2011, Fernandez fatally assaulted his 2-year-old brother, David Gallardiago. Fernandez was taken into custody and questioned.
These are called your constitutional rights. And I know you're 12 years old, right? So tell me what really happened tonight.
I put him to carry books.
And then what happened?
And it fell on him.
So then what else happened?
And then they fell on him, and then he fell.
Well, this side of his head is really injured up with a lot of bruising and swelling.
Mm-hmm.
So, and his nose is really swelled up. Did you do anything for him to make him hit his head?
What do you mean? Like, I pushed him?
Yeah. Did you push him tonight?
To the bed?
No. Did you do anything for his head to hit anything tonight?
Well, we were just carrying books, and then it fell on him.
That's not the truth, Christian. Is it?
During the interrogation, he revealed that he knew that what he did was wrong, but years of abuse from his stepdad got the better of him.
So what happened? What happened to the side of his head?
I pushed him against a bookshelf.
Why'd you push him? Were you angry about something?
Yes.
What were you angry about?
What my stepdad did to me. I felt bad because then I realized what I actually done. Because I wasn't really thinking about what I was doing when I pushed him. I was just thinking about my stepdad.
How many times did you push him into the shelf?
Twice.
Where was he bleeding from?
From his nose.
Anywhere else?
In his mouth.
His mouth is bleeding?
Mm-hmm.
Susanna, Fernandez's mother, had failed to take the baby to hospital for 8 hours, while the boy remained unconscious. The detectives wanted to know the reason behind her actions.
So when you got home, you saw knocked out, as you said, right? Knocked out? In the bed. On the bottom bunk?
On the bottom bed.
Did you see anything knocked over in the room or any blood anywhere?
I saw a little bit of blood on the floor.
Okay. Where on the floor?
Let's say like the stairs were here, and the blood was like over
there. So kind of in front of the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Christian did it.
What do you? How did he do it?
He got mad at her and he took her by the head and smacked twice into the bookshelf.
Susanna was charged with manslaughter and is facing 30 years in prison. Christian was sentenced to 7 years in juvenile prison and was released in 2018 when he was 19. However, while Christian's behavior was shocking, it's nothing compared to the utter mayhem caused by 15-year-old Alyssa Bustamante.
It doesn't matter whether the body's burned or not. They'll go through and do an autopsy, and they will discover every injury on her body and the cause of death.
He was facing murder charges in Missouri. On October 21st, 2009, 9-year-old Elizabeth Olton was lured into the woods. There, Bustamante fatally stabbed her and then strangled her before burying her in a shallow grave. The teenager then left for church. Following investigations, Bustamante was brought in for questioning. Initially, she denied any wrongdoing.
She died. How did she die? 9-year-old girls don't just die.
We were messing her out. Then she fell back and hit her head.
Was her throat cut?
Then she admitted to digging a hole.
You dug it ahead of time, didn't you?
I've done that hole on Wednesday.
Before you played with her?
Yes.
But she eventually broke down and confessed.
You knew you were going to kill her. And then you cut her throat. Is that what happened?
Yes.
A pocket knife? A kitchen knife?
Kitchen knife.
Okay. Did you stab her?
Afterwards.
How many times did you stab her?
2.
2.
I think.
The police found Olton's body 2 days after Bustamante confessed.
Basically, the main reason for accepting the offer was to avoid the absolute certainty of life without parole. If there was another option, then there would have been no reason to have accepted that offer.
She was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 35 years. However, when emotions run high in court, the actions of Bustamante and Eric Nausch leave us questioning sanity itself.
They blame you for this?
Can I stop you right there?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I did not pull the trigger, and I was not there that night.
Nausch is in a Las Vegas court for a senseless murder. In February 2015, Nausch fatally shot the 44-year-old mother of 4, Tammy Myers, during a road rage incident.
Do you ever think about Tammy?
I have. I mean, I didn't know her real well. She's always been an upbeat, happy woman. You know, I've seen her walk her dogs a few times.
Following his arrest, Nausch immediately confessed during questioning.
Everywhere I went, that car was there. Like, it was there. Like, and I just had threats. I had my arm out the window, always shooting.
In court, the husband of the slain woman was very angry with Nausch.
Am I going to forgive you? Never. Ever. Neither one of you will get my forgiveness. And especially Eric Nausch. You burn in hell and you get what you have coming to you today. Because you, Mr. are an animal.
Eric Andrews, who was the driver, was also sentenced to 5 to 15 years. Both men are still serving their sentences in prison. However, while this reaction could certainly be dismissed as an effect of drugs, the same can't be said for the case of 16-year-old Samuel Gizal.
Why get a bail when you murder somebody?
Exactly.
They don't get to come back. So why should you be in society?
He's facing charges of murder in Washington. On July 3rd, 2024, Gizal was fighting with some boys when he fired his gun at them. But accidentally hit 13-year-old Jada. Unfortunately, Jada lost her life. During Gizal's bail hearing, Jada's mother made an emotional statement.
Jada would have started 8th grade today, but instead she will always be a 7th grader.
Gizal pled not guilty, hoping for a lesser bond.
And Mr. Gizal, you understand what you're charged with?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is your plea?
Not guilty.
The prosecutor insists that he poses a danger and that the bond amount should be increased.
There is a long history of Mr. Gizal being violent, finding guns to be fun, all of his friends being of the same nature, and he poses a danger to this community. Additionally, Your Honor, the firearm used in this incident has not been located.
The defense argued that Gizal's actions were based on self-defense.
This was an ambush, and he was going to get the snot kicked out of him, and that was their intent. But for the fact that he had a gun on him, that's what would have happened.
Gizal's initial bond of about $50,000 was overturned after the judge saw social media images of him posing with guns. His bond was raised to $2 million. His case is still ongoing. However, as we see Gizal's disastrous actions, it brings to mind the strikingly similar actions of 16-year-old Simeon Adams.
Free little red, he innocent, he ain't do none of that.
How do you know?
How do I know? Get these cameras out of my face.
He was facing murder charges in Indianapolis. On March 30th, 2014, Adams fatally shot Eric Douglas.
The teen suspect allegedly used a stolen gun for that murder.
Douglas was on his morning walk when Adams attacked. Douglas's devastated sister couldn't hold herself.
Angry, it's gonna be my word of choice. Surprised, shocked, frustrated, sickened.
In the end, Adams was sentenced to 55 years in prison. However, it's not the first time a convict has lost control in court.
I just came home and my son's dad put a knife to my throat and he cut my hand and I'm like bleeding everywhere and my son's freaking out.
Just like what happened in the notorious case of Adam Matos, who's facing charges of murder in Florida. In August 2014, the disgruntled ex fatally shot his ex-girlfriend, her parents, and her new boyfriend. He then stayed in the house and tried to hide their bodies. However, he was soon arrested. In court, he claimed self-defense.
I realize now that she probably wasn't trying to kill me. I was just out of it and so paranoid and in shock.
The loved ones of the deceased also tore into him.
There's not a single day that goes by that your son does not think about his family that he lost at the hands of a murderer. He loves his mother, he loves his grandparents, and he loves us. He does not love you. You stole his whole world. You ruined his whole life, and we are here to pick up the pieces.
Needless to say, the jury found him guilty.
The defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree. The defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree. The defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree. The defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree.
Before he was sentenced, the judge gave him a piece of her mind.
This was the most selfish, self-centered, evil thing that I've ever heard. That you took the stand and you said that you did all of this for your son is ridiculous. Your son was in the house when this occurred. He was either in the room or within 65, 70 feet of when you shot his mother, shot his grandfather, and then waited 5 hours, by your own admission, to walk downstairs and beat his grandmother to death. In those 5 hours, he was there. It's 6 o'clock in the evening. He's not asleep. He's not locked in his room. You sat there with him and went downstairs and finished off his grandmother. And you did that for your own selfish reasons.
Now, the heartless lover learns his sentence.
Count 1 and count 4 to life in prison.